All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video, doing another tier list maker in the middle of the All-Star break still, so there's some games that are currently not happening, which means there's more stuff that I have to fill in with the gaps of there being no games. Today's video though, every NBA second option, 2024-2025. For example, the Celtics, the second option is Jaylen Brown. For example, the Warriors, their second option is Jimmy Butler. Which team has the second best option, or let's just put them in a tier list. That's the easiest way to do it. I think this was done before the trade deadline. So just a quick FYI, the Kings won't even have a second option, but I'm going to tell you guys right now. What is it? DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine? That's considered the second option. I would say DeMar. Either way, DeMar is a B tier second option. Okay, after further thinking about it, we're going to make a change real quick. We're going to do second best player. Even looking at this tier list, aka each team's second best player, it just makes more sense because when talking about both of these guys' weakness, they do come on the defensive end. Brandon Miller, same thing. Cam Johnson, a strength of his is defense, but either way, he'd still be C. We're going to knock De'Aaron Fox to A. This guy is not the guy that we thought he would be. The reason why I'm putting him with Cam Johnson and now Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller's in his second year who's showing a lot of promise. DeAndre Ayton is who he is, someone who just really never lived up to the hype, never really lived up to the expectations. Is he still a solid player? Sure, but effort comes into question, and yeah, I'm going to leave him at C. Going into Devin Booker, I mean, he's just an S tier second best player. If you want to say KD's the second best player, he'd still be an S tier anyway. This guy can defend, he can score from all three levels, he can play make if need be. I'm not going to say he's Trae Young level because he's not, but people really do sleep on this guy's playmaking ability. If he gets doubled, he can and is more than willing to find the open player on his team. These two guys, I would say Booker is the better second best player just because of his added defense, which Dame doesn't have. But you could definitely say Dame's a better scorer. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying you could easily make that argument. Moving forward, we have Evan Mobley. Is Evan Mobley the second best player on the Cavs? It's debatable. You could say Darius Garland. I don't think you can say Jared Allen, but you could say Darius Garland. But if we're going with Evan Mobley, I would say B. I think the Cavs are so good. Can I say that Evan Mobley is as good of a player as De'Aaron Fox is, or is Evan Mobley just in a phenomenal situation with Jared Allen, with a great coaching staff, with Donovan Mitchell, with Darius Garland? It's kind of one of those things to where it's like we're never ever going to see Evan Mobley take over a game like De'Aaron Fox could or these guys could. It's just not going to happen. So you can't talk about his defense, his length. It is a huge strength of his, but he's also just in a phenomenal spot. So I am going to leave him at B. That could be a hot take. You could argue A. I'm going to leave him at B. Franz Wagner is a really solid second best player, but the problem with Franz is that you really do need just a really solid unit around him. I don't think Jaden Ivey can be your second best player, to be honest with you. I just don't think it can happen. He's not someone who's really taken that leap yet. Gotten better since his rookie season, but needs to take a bigger leap. Okay, Jalen Brunson as your second best player is S tier, definitively. He's averaging 26 points per game, but he's also the heart and soul of the Knicks. Someone who is just the captain, someone who is absolutely capable of taking this team the distance. So especially if he's your second best player, you just can't go wrong. And I think the difference between him and De'Aaron Fox is Jalen Brunson can give you like 42 minutes on a night, and he can give you like just hard played basketball, as opposed to De'Aaron Fox kind of sitting back the first couple of quarters and just turning it up on the fourth. I think Jalen Brunson is going to be more consistent in that sense. Moving forward, Jalen Green. They're saying Sengun's the best player then. So if Sengun's the best player, Jalen Green would be the second best player. This guy is super athletic, super talented. It's crazy. And he's still so young, but defensively, he's got a ways to go and very unproven. Definitely in B tier. He's not that De'Aaron Fox level yet. Definitely not. Then we have Jalen Johnson. This is interesting because the Hawks have been bad and we haven't really been able to see him, thrive. Now he's out for the season. I think he's B tier, lower B tier. He's definitely around that Brandon Miller region to where it's like unproven, but they've taken really big leaps and bounds this year. Still behind these three. They're the weaker side of B. Jalen Johnson, low B. Then we got J-Dub of the Thunder. Honestly, I gotta say A or the highest of B. Super talented defender, super talented scorer. I mean, this guy is a complete package in a player where he's really just good at everything. He can score from the three. He can shoot the middies. He can finish inside. He can knock down free throws. Got some solid handles. Can play make a little bit. He can defend. You know what I mean? He can just really do everything. Now, is he better than De'Aaron Fox? I don't think so, just because offensively De'Aaron Fox is so talented, but as a complete player, J-Dub, honestly, I would say A tier. Okay, so Jamal Murray, I would say is B, maybe even C during the regular season. During the playoffs, he's like fucking S. So it's just really hard to grade someone like that. We're going to leave him in B, though. It's so hard to grade this guy because during the regular season, he is just not that guy. During the playoffs, I mean, damn. So keep it going. We'll leave him. Whoa, John Morant? You're saying Jaren Jackson's better than John Morant? Interesting. Well, if John Morant's the second best player, that's S. I mean, this dude, as a second best player for arguing Jaren's better, which in my opinion, he's not if you have a healthy John Morant. John Morant would easily be considered S. This is someone who can completely just take over a game with the highlight dunks and give all the momentum on your side of the team with the way he finishes at the rim and the hype that he can have in the stadium. What more can you say about John Morant? If we're going to say he's the second best player, that's S tier without question. Jaylen Brown is the ideal second best player, period. I mean, this guy can defend pretty much anyone, and he will go after any assignment. He can shoot the three. Really, really, really good mid-range. Phenomenal physical finisher. Solid free throw shooter. This guy is just the ideal second best player for any team. Seriously, he's willing to put his team first. He's willing to make the passes that he has to if need be. And if Jason Tatum's hot, he's more than willing to get the ball to Jason Tatum. But then he also, on his own nights, is willing to take over because he can't. This guy is the definition of who you want as a second best player. If you cooked up, an archetype of any player and you said, what would I want my second best player to look like? You're going to look at Jaylen Brown. Seriously. A championship winner. No surprise. I would say best, but Devin Booker's also just crazy because he could be considered the best player of any team. Moving forward, Jimmy Butler. Another S. Definitely another S, just because we've seen what he does in the playoffs. During the regular season, I would say B for sure during the regular season, which is similar to Jamal Murray, right? But the difference between Jamal Murray and Jimmy Butler is that in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler becomes the best player. In the playoffs, Jamal Murray is still the second best player to Jokic, but this guy can single-handedly carry you to a finals. So maybe we should say A, but even then, I have a hard time saying A. We're going to take into account regular season a little bit. During the regular season, it definitely changes things. He doesn't necessarily, but even then, that doesn't even feel right to say A. It's Jimmy fucking Butler, bro. The resume speaks for itself. I can't pass up on that. Joel Embiid. If he's healthy, he's an S. If he's healthy, he is definitely an S. Okay, this is interesting because now Evan Mobley at B. That doesn't even feel right. That does not even feel right. I almost want to put Evan Mobley in A, but I don't think he's the same as De'Aaron Fox or J-Dub. Joel Embiid, though, has got to go S. If he's healthy, he's an S. It's the biggest thing. Julius Randle, okay. This one I'm saying we can go B. Just because the lackluster effort from time to time is really, really infuriating for anyone to watch. And offensively, as good as he is, very inefficient at times. Solid player, though. You can't go wrong with Julius Randle. Kyrie is another S. Kyrie's your second best player. You're happy. I mean, come on. We got a lot of S right now. All these guys are ideal second best players. Seriously. Jalen Brunson, John Morant, Damian Lillard. as your second best player, you cannot go wrong with that. Seriously. Makes you want to put Evan Mobley in A. I'm heavily considering it. Heavily considering it. But then Franz, maybe you have to think about putting an A if Evan Mobley goes in A, because Franz is right there as well. Lauri Markkanen's in B, which is interesting because, you know, we haven't seen him in a competitive team. Seriously, this guy's never made a single playoff game for being as good as he is, and that's just crazy. It's just crazy. I want to see him in the playoff atmosphere. We're not going to be able to see that, though. He's with the Jazz, unless he gets traded. LeBron James is the GOAT. You get the GOAT on your team as the second best player. That's the second best player you're ever going to see. Easy S. It's not even a question. Pascal Siakam, that's an A. You know what I mean? He's spicy P's an A. Championship winner, second best player to Kawhi. He's proven that he can be the second best player on a championship team. We've seen it. We've literally seen it. The run the Pacers had, he had such a big part in that. I have a hard time saying Pascal Siakam's not an A tier. He is. Honestly, he is. As your second best player, he's an A tier. Definitely not S. Definitely A tier, though. Evan Mobley's got to move up now. He just has to. Honestly, I think with all the mouths that they have to feed offensively, it becomes easier to forget about how good his stats could really be. But he's in a stacked team. So we're going to go with A and Evan Mobley in the end. Franz Wagner, I'm tempted to go one up as well. This season, he's averaging 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4.9 assists. Say less. What the fuck am I doing? Franz has got to go A. I apologize to all of you that had to see that. Franz has got to go A. 5. Not even I was too familiar with the 25 points per game. That's crazy. That's wild. Franz, I apologize. I disrespected you too much. Jalen Green, though, staying in B. But I like A now. I feel much better. Like, it was really bothering me seeing these two there. I just didn't want to hand these out like candy, but then you see S and you're like, why not? At that point, let it fly. LeBron, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson, John Morant. You can't even argue none of those guys are S-tier second options. You can't do it. Championship winner, the GOAT. Finalist, someone who helped get the Olympic gold medal, certified badass. Championship winner. Joel Embiid, arguably the best player, 2-time MVP winner at least, if I remember correctly. Is it 1 or 2? He's got at least 1. Jimmy Butler, 2 finals appearances. Kyrie Irving, championship winner. Damian Lillard, been good, wasted a lot of his time in Portland, but we already know how good this guy can be. Insane scorer, insanely talented, insanely gifted. Jalen Brunson, heart and soul of the Knicks, arguably the best player. Can't go wrong with him as S. John Morant, generational talent. Can't go wrong with S. You just got to get on the court. So I'm going to leave A alone. I'm not going to organize that shit. I'm going to leave everything alone. Honestly, I didn't really organize S aside from LeBron at the top. Interesting stuff. Well, let me know what you guys think. This was a tough list to make, honestly. And it was a bit confusing at the beginning. I apologize because I said offensive option. I did switch it pretty soon to just player as a whole. It does help Evan Mobley's case to be an A if it's player as a whole. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, subscribe. It goes a long way to help the channel. As always, this is I'll Even Different. I'll Even Different. And we out.